Again, Bobby, how you going, man?
I'm great, man. How you doing?
A little bit starstruck again.
Oh, I can't wait.
I've just seen Dr. Franson got you. So for you guys that are watching, Bobby actually is my chiropractic coach. They've come over for just the last couple of days to present to us, just to level up and train us on how we can give the best care to our tribe, to our chiropractic consumers out there as well. So, Bobby, you are one of my mentors, man. And normally mentors are supposed to be older than the consumer, the mentee. I'm 37. How old are you?
I'm 32.
My man, how'd you get all this experience?
Well, look, man, I mean, for me, the formula is simple. It's intensity, focus, multiplied by time, right, leads to outcomes. And so
Nice.
straight from the get-go, the intensity focus was super high. I knew exactly what I wanted, I knew my direction. And so it was just a natural progression.
So why did you choose chiropractic? Just tell us a little bit about your journey. Why chiropractic?
Yeah, you know what? My journey is interesting because I'm not that person that had the amazing miracle story or was getting adjusted. I've always come from a healthcare-based family.
Okay.
So my father managed psychiatric hospitals. I had aunties who were medical doctors. I had uncles who were dentists. It was always a really medically based family, I guess you could call it. So I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare, but I saw that part of the world and I was like, look, that's really not helping people stay healthy, right? That's sick care, not healthcare. So somehow I stumbled into chiropractic. I thought, you know what, this is a good idea. Let's do chiropractic.
Wow.
And throughout that journey, I started to uncover the depths of chiropractic and what it actually is and how much it can help people, empower people, and change lives and change the community and ultimately change the world. And when I figured that out, that was just the fire was lit and the rest is history, as they say.
So you didn't have any experience with chiropractic that was an aha moment? I think it just rings a bell, a story that you told me when you were a student.
So once I started studying, something interesting happened to me. Initially, I was studying a Bachelor of Medical Science, right? I was like, I want to do something healthcare. And I missed an exam, truth be told. As you do, you're 19 years old, you miss an exam. And so what do you have to produce on Monday morning to not fail the exam?
Medical certificate.
That's right, yeah. I know that. So off I go to my family medical doctor, and the first thing they do, put the blood pressure cuff on, and let's check your blood pressure.
Yeah.
So they're checking your blood pressure, and they look at it, and the reading comes out, and I'll never forget it because that GP takes that step out of his ears and he goes, this is not good. Because you're 159 over 75.
And you're 19, right?
Yeah, and I'm 19 at the time. Fit, healthy, working out, looking after my body, what I thought was really well. And so, checks it again, same thing, it's gone up even more. It's 161 over about 75. And so that really kind of got me down where I went and I bought all the blood pressure machines, everything. I was, checking myself every single day,
Nice.
totally.
Yeah.
And it was always high. It was always 150, 160. I looked at my dad. He was doing the traditional route of taking blood pressure medications, and I thought, that just doesn't make sense, right? I'm 19 years old. This does not make sense how I can just need this medication for a lifetime now. So I went back to school at the time, and I asked one of our pathology professors. I was like, look, how can I have high blood pressure?
Yeah, right.
I'm fit. I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm 19 years old, I don't understand it. And she's the one that says to me, look, have you ever had your spine checked?
Wow.
It's like, what's my spine got to do with my blood pressure, man?
Sure, yeah.
She goes, well, actually, go and have a check of your neck because the nerves that come out of your spine, that's how the brain communicates with the body, through the spine. So if you have areas of problems in the spine, that can absolutely start to affect those nerves that control different parts of the body.
Great, yeah.
I was like, makes sense. I was studying anatomy. She goes, look, go and see my chiropractor, get them to take an x-ray of your spine and just see what they say. So off I go to her chiropractor, and they take an x-ray of my spine from side on. They look at my lateral view, what we call. Instead of having a beautiful, nice curve in my neck, I've got a curve, but essentially it's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, common.
Yeah, exactly. Really common, right? And really hidden. And so they're like, well, those nerves that come out of that part of your neck supply areas like your heart. And I was like, do you think that can affect my blood pressure? Like, we're not sure. Can you correct it? Absolutely. So I start going through the process. 3 months pass, 4, 5, feeling really good. My energy's changing, my sleep is changing. 6 months in, I'm doing a new x-ray and I'm starting to see positive momentum and shifts on the x-ray.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, you can start to see that my x-ray curves are reversing.
So from the original one to the...
Correct,
yeah, okay,
right?
yeah.
A comparison, because that's what you want to see. You want to see comparisons, and I'm starting to see objective changes. And I forgot about the whole blood pressure thing. I bought the whole kits and everything, right? I was like, let me check my blood pressure. So I lie down at home, on the couch, put that cuff on, pump it up, and it's going out to computerized one. And I look down, and it says 119 over 70.
It's normal.
And I'd never seen that. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, check it again. And again, and again. And it was always like 117, 115, 119. I was like, this is pretty cool.
So what else did you change? What other factors were thrown into the mix besides chiropractic?
So look, I always led a really healthy lifestyle. We were always actively involved, myself, my family, my brother, in working out regularly and eating healthy, clean, good organic food, and making sure that we're looking after our body and getting enough rest and doing all the healthy lifestyle things that we know are important. But the missing link is I had no clue about how the brain communicates with the body through the spine. I literally was that person who thought your spine is just bones stacked on top of each other.
Sure.
Somehow the brain communicates with the body through those bones. That was me.
Okay. Yeah, excellent. Now, you're 32?
32, man,
32,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You've been a chiropractor for how long?
6 years now, going in 7.
Okay, so relatively short considering the success really that you and your clinic have seen and to be able to serve that community in that capacity.
Yeah.
Maybe you can sort of journey with us what it was like your first client, your first patient. That would have been pretty full on. Maybe the first year in practice and what you've had to do to be able to have such an impact on the community now. Because you guys have got a rocking practice. You're helping a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, we're really blessed. Our practice is an amazing practice. We serve an abundant amount of people. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. When I first started, my first ever person that I saw that walked through my door.
I love this, man.
I'm all nervous. They call at 8:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and they book in at 5:30 in the evening. So I've got all day to go through my 5 years worth of notes, right? And what questions am I going to ask this person? Who are they going to be? What background are they going to be are they going to be from? 5:30 arrives. I can hear them filling out the paperwork. Lands on my desk.
Yeah.
I look at the paperwork, and in occupation, first person ever, cardiothoracic surgeon.
Your luck, man.
And I'm like, what a way to test my conviction, right?
Yeah.
And so, not just any cardiothoracic surgeon, one of the most prominent ones in the country, Dr. Kaplan. So I jump on Google and trying to check this guy out, who is he, right? And is really prominent, right, in the world of cardiothoracic surgery. So I kind of get my stuff together and, I call him into the room and that really was a catalyst that changed me a lot because so much of what he was saying, I'd heard in relation to chiropractic because he was talking about things like how the body's intelligent and how even post-surgery the body heals itself and how we need to trust that intelligence and we need to support it, and when we support it we get better outcomes. And then he says one day to me, I would estimate that 80% of the people that I see in his office he wouldn't be seeing if they understood certain principles about their body, but that it was my job to go out there and to teach and educate people on those principles about health and where it comes from. For me, man, that was the catalyst. That was that big moment where I was like, yeah, this guy's spot on.
Great.
And, I felt a responsibility from that point, and the rest, as they say, just,
Nice.
just kind of went into momentum, went into flow.
And did you find that when you sort of stepped into practice, that was your first patient,
First
real
person,
client, Was it smooth sailing? Did you just find that the patients flew in and it was just creating the cause and adjusting subluxations, or did you find that you had to really work and finesse your art, your philosophy and science, and even processes? Maybe walk through your journey of being a clinician to a business owner, operator,
Look,
CEO.
I wish it was smooth.
Yeah.
I look back and I wish it was smooth. And it's funny because now I reflect and, being the age that I am, I look back on it and I guess you could say it happened relatively quickly. But in the moment, it didn't feel quick. However, the one guiding light that I always had is I had in my head when I was future pacing and I would look at mentors, I would look at people that had come before me and people that would regularly talk into me, some younger, some older at the time. But when I look at these people and see what they had achieved, that made me realize that it is possible. You just haven't figured it out yet. And so the more that I invested, the more that I focused, the more that I made sure that, I mastered, the pillars, I mastered the philosophy, I mastered communication, I mastered systems, procedures, and built it up really in this congruent fashion, the more and more practice that I practiced took off. And, we grew a huge amount. We grew in a space of about 18 to 24 months really quickly.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a big jump just when everything clicked, all our systems and our procedures clicked together, and, our philosophy was always getting built up, and then we just had this moment where it all perfectly synergized and it just exploded. And ever since then, it's just been this nice, beautiful, consistent growth.
Lovely, man. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, I get coaching from you every fortnight.
Yeah.
I'm listening to a podcast by Dr. Stephen Franson from the Remarkable CEO podcast as well. It's switching from owner-operator to business owner and CEO. So
awesome
really,
podcast, right?
I love it. Yeah. Actually, my wife and I listen to it I think on a Wednesday as well.
So Dr. Franson and Dr. Pete, my mentors, personal mentors.
That's where I was leading with this. Okay, so who coaches you? I mean, you're successful, you're getting great results, let's be honest, but how do you get to that point? Are you getting mentoring? How do you grow yourself?
Yeah, so look, I mean, I was really blessed that early on I worked out the value of investing in yourself and having a mentor and having someone that you can look up to and having someone that can hold you by the hand and be like, it's okay, just come this way, just come this way. And I'll never forget it because I was in school still, my final year of study, when I decided to invest in myself. And it was my mum that was like, you need to do this, right? You're making a career out of this, you need to do it. And so I started really early when I was still in school, final years of study. And then I met Dr. Franson probably a year out where, you know, I was having some success, but I can't say at all I was setting the world on fire. I felt as though I was like a Ferrari, but that I couldn't drive more than 40 kilometers an hour.
Frustrating, brother.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's missing. I had the philosophy, you know, I was always working hard on the philosophy. And then I heard Dr. Franson on a podcast talking about how you really need to have systems that are congruent with your philosophy. And when you combine the two, that's what leads you to growth to the next level. And I was like, that makes sense. So literally, I think within a week, you know, I was in the academy at the time, which is an online program.
Yeah.
I think 1 week after that, I was like, all right, I want to supercharge this. How do I supercharge? And yeah, we started to work together one-on-one, and that's been now 6 years ago, about 6 years ago, and 6 years straight. It's just the formula that works. We just
Lovely.
continue to wash and repeat, and it just continues to illuminate blind spots
Love
and
it.
keep you growing, man. And
Yeah.
people ask, what's the kind of magic formula? That's the formula for me.
Excellent, man.
Absolutely, and for everyone else that I see.
So we've just wrapped up the Remarkable Practice Immersion in Perth, the attraction module. How many times have you done attraction, the module?
The live training?
Yeah, the live training.
I think this is my seventh.
Seventh,
Yeah.
okay. And may I ask, are you still learning?
Man, you're
Really?
always learning.
Yeah.
You know, education really is one of the biggest investments that furthers us.
Okay.
So I'm always learning. I love to get to live immersions. Yes, because it's an honor and a privilege to get out there and teach and to share. And I love to share what we've learned.
Yeah.
And love to empower other people to be like, hey, look, this works. Just do this. But at the same time, I'm back of the room. I'm taking the notes, and my team is there as well. And you know, we come back to the office on Monday morning, and we do our team training, we do our takeaways, and we implement because I know that there's always the next level. Our community needs us to get to that next level. So I'm a student, man. I'm always a student.
Excellent, man. So if people do want to find out more information on the Remarkable Practice, they just go to. We'll put a link up, Sergio, on the podcast as well.
Yeah,
so the remarkablepractice.com. And they can really find out what's going on. I mean, it's changed my life to empower people to take charge of their own lives as well. So that's why I'm a huge advocate of this program. So, man, thank you so much for your time. One other question, man.
What's that?
Can you tell us the Russell Brand sort of story?
The Russell Brand story.
Yeah.
All right, let me share that with you. So, you know, it's interesting. I had quite some experiences in my first year when I was in practice. So this was probably, I would have been about 3 months in practice. And it was a quiet day. I think that day I had 6 people booked in. Okay, so you know I'd grown, and you know I get the call in the morning. It's a hotel. It's an Intercontinental Hotel.
Got it.
And they're calling, and we have a relationship with them where you know whenever travelers come, they often call us so people can come and get adjusted.
Great.
But this time, whenever they call and it's like a celebrity, they wouldn't necessarily come out to the practice. They'd be like, can you come to the hotel?
Sure. Yeah, great.
So we get the call out in the morning. Hey, we've got somebody that you know is pretty high level, and they can't come out to the practice. Are you able to come to the practice? Of course, I was the quietest guy at that point in the practice, so I was like, I'm available.
Cool.
So all day I'm thinking, who is this person? Who's it going to be, right? Like, you know, is it going to be somebody that I don't know, or I've got no clue? And you know, so off I go. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I go to Intercontinental, rock up to the concierge, and you know, they go, okay, you're the chiropractor. Oh, okay. And their tone changes. All right, just come with me this way. So they take me to this private office, and they're like, okay, so there is a celebrity upstairs, and they're talking really quiet, even though we're in a private room. They're like, and this guy's pretty high profile. This person's pretty high profile, Mr. X. And
really?
That's
Mr.
what they
X?
said. They call him Mr. X, right?
Yeah.
They're like, Mr. X, pretty high profile. He's on top floor. We're going to take you to the presidential suite.
Okay.
Now, I'd done my Google research, right? Google's a wonderful thing. And, you know, presidential suite Intercontinental in Sydney, it's like people like Oprah Winfrey have stayed there, right? It's like Dr. Oz has stayed there. It's like presidents of the United States have stayed there. So I was like, okay.
Dr. Bobby.
Yeah, now Dr. Bobby's going there, right? You know? And so with my 6 patients a day. And so, you know, I show up and they go in the elevator and she presses this key, opens up this latch, and it opens up a floor that's not available. You know, it's got like 22 floors and this extra latch opens up, which is a presidential floor. So she presses that. I'm going up the lift, and this lady, when I'm about 15 floors up, goes, okay, so Mr. X is actually Russell Brand. Gosh. And I was like, Russell Brand, I love that. Oh. Russell Brand. Okay, got it. So the door opens up and the lift opens up into the suite. You like walk into this corridor. It's like a dark black box, and she walks in with me, and there's a door there, and she knocks on this door, and then just jumps back into the lift. And I'm like, oh gee, what a way to bail on me, right?
Gosh, yeah.
And so I'm walking in, and I'm like, long corridor, like, where is it? Like, where is he? Where is he? There's no one in here. And then it just opens up into this beautiful view of like all of Sydney. It's like 180-degree view, amazing.
Lovely.
And all of a sudden, in my right corner of my eye, coming out of the bathroom in nothing but a pair of underpants, white jocks, is Russell Brand. He's like, hello, mate. I'm like, no way, it's Russell Brand.
Lovely.
So he comes over and, we sit down like this and he's like,
Yeah.
you want a drink?
Yeah.
And I was, all official and stuff, and I was a bit starstruck. I was like, no. Yeah, all right, why
Lovely.
not?
Yeah,
right?
great.
Yeah. So, we had a drink there, we had a bit of a chat, and, the interesting thing is, I asked him, we built up a bit of a rapport, I ended up being there for about an hour. Like, a really cool guy. And it turns out it's the first time ever that he got adjusted. He'd flew into Sydney because he was hosting an event there. And, he'd been having issues with his jaw and issues with headaches and upper part of his neck. And someone told him, hey, have you seen a chiropractor? So he had the trust, he had the faith, and, we came out and we adjusted him.
Got it.
And next thing you know, his whole entourage is coming into the hotel. And there's 2 tables there. And
chiropractic tables?
Yeah, chiropractic tables.
Yours?
Like portable tables. The hotel supplied them.
Nice.
And next thing you know, the whole entourage is getting adjusted. It was like an open adjusting area. They're lying down. There's like 8 of them. And we're just, boom, adjusting. And they were just blown away by it.
Right.
So we sat down and, we had a bit of a conversation, but I was like, okay, where are you living? Where are you staying? He told me where that was. And I was like, all right, let me find you someone in that area. And so we found him someone in that area, and, he hooked us up with like VIP tickets and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool.
Good.
And then, it's funny because that was probably about 6 years ago now. I see the video come out no longer about Russell Brand talking about chiropractic and
Really?
Yeah, about how it clears out your nervous system. You haven't seen it?
Awesome. No, not yet.
Look it up. Russell Brand's video on chiropractic, talking about chiropractic. And
Can you put a link on that, brother? Yeah.
Yeah, and so it reminded me of BJ Palmer's quote where he says, the big famous one, you never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today can affect the lives of millions tomorrow. And then now Russell Brand is like talking and preaching chiropractic, right?
Love it, man. That's so epic. Fantastic.
So it's pretty cool.
Man, I just want to thank you so much for the influence that you're having on my life to allow me to influence my community and other people in that sphere as well. So keep it up, man. You're changing lives one spine at a time, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you too, man. And watching your journey and watching it unfold, I see so much of my journey there.
Thanks, man.
And more. And it's one of those things, like I said before, in the moment I was looking at it and I was like, it was like, it's happening. But then I look back and I was like, man, that happened so quick. And I just see the leadership qualities that you're developing and the influence you're developing, man. It makes me proud as well.
Thanks,
and, I appreciate you, man.
Man, we got to give you a hug as well. Thanks, man. Thanks, brother.
No problems, man.
Good. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.